stay there. I am just heading down to Shanahan State Park to pick up the I&M Trail, which runs 15 miles north of where I'm going to park and about 60 miles south of where I'm going to park. I've done this before. I went south. I went probably about 13 miles and then I turned around and I came back. It was pretty good, but I'm a little unfamiliar with it. But anyway, I was having some thoughts. Somebody asked me the other day, how do you play? I know I've had a couple of people fall in pickleball and break their wrists or what have you. And, then of course, seeing my dad and what he went through falling and, a couple people I know have fallen lately that are in that older age bracket, 80 plus. And, I think once you get up there, it's kind of inevitable. I mean, you're going to have your falls and so forth. But I also think that, somebody asked me, how do you play and not, I don't want to jinx myself, but, how have you been so good avoiding injury is kind of what they said. And they said that to me too when I was playing pro racquetball. I had a pretty long 25-year career playing the tour, and I had relatively few injuries. One year I had a cracked heel bone that my foot guy said was plantar fasciitis, and I said, well, I've had that before and this is a lot worse. And he was like, it's impossible to crack your heel bone. Well, I played a whole season on the crack, finished number 1 somehow. I learned how to serve better and then create a weak return from my opponent, and then I was very devoted to putting that next ball away. So and the girls knew it. They were like, we know you're hurt. How are you doing this? But I think how I did it was, mental toughness, but also the fact that I worked on what I could control, right, in that scenario. And then there was another time I played, one of my coaches, Jim Heiser, would say this was probably the best thing they ever did. I went down to the Pan American Games in 2011. I knew I had a torn meniscus, and that doctor told me, no, ice and rest. If you can squat, you don't have a torn meniscus. Well, the doctor at the Pan Am Games, who oversaw all of the athletes for all of the sports for the United States, said, well, I'm not an MRI, but I know that you have a torn meniscus. Let's just get you through this tournament. And at age 43, I ended up, again, focusing on what I could control and ended up with a bronze medal, which was pretty cool. I ended up losing to Paula Longoria, who, is the most winning woman in the history of women's racquetball. So no shame there, especially at age 43. But, I was able to do those kinds of things because I was always on a great strength and conditioning program. And right now I'm going down to go biking. And, I swim. I reluctantly swim. And then I'm playing pickleball. And I do very, very minimal weights anymore. And I should do more. So I'm devoted to doing that maybe twice a week. But no longer do I want to go in the gym, and do what I used to do. I've done it. I had great strength and conditioning coaches. I had Eugene Coyle from racquetball, and then I had a guy named Tim Lang, who was my high school health teacher, and then he disappeared, and we come to find out he was down in Texas working with the Texas Rangers as their strength and conditioning coach, and then circled back around to Chicago to the White Sox, DePaul University, and then ended up his tour. He started at Downers North, and then he ended up finishing his career and retired at Niles North. So that's when I was training with him, and I was so exhausted after his workouts. I'd be laying in the coach's locker room. I couldn't even shower for 20 minutes because he worked me so hard. So what that did was it got me, really strong, but also mentally tough because I was able to endure his workouts, So when I got on the court, I felt like, the longer the match went, the better I was, and nobody could beat me down mentally or physically. So that was good. But I don't want to do that anymore. I don't have time to do it. I'm working the real estate, and our priorities change as we get older as well. We got older, we lose our balance. Well, there is a truth to that, but I think also if we can devote some time each day to doing some basics like lateral band walks and doing some core work. I am a certified trainer, so if you do need help or guidance with a program for pickleball or racquetball, but I don't really get on the racquetball court much anymore, but more pickleball people come to me and they want lessons or whatever, and they want me to incorporate injury prevention and footwork basic conditioning, and then obviously skills and drills and play analysis and all that. But you need to have a really good program as well that's not only going to get you through pickleball, but also as we age, we want to be better with our balance, right? Because we know statistically as we get older, our balance is going to decline, muscle mass declines, our balance gets a little bit shakier. So I'm trying to do a little bit more in the gym, because I end up biking a lot of miles, and then after I'm done, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired, and then I don't do the planks, and I don't do the ab work that I know I should be doing. So I'm doing some modified versions of what I used to do, things that I know are the basics that will keep me strong, so that I can go to the Chicago Open, I can go to the US Open, I can go down to Dallas and play in the pickle money ball, and I don't have to worry about, I don't want to jinx myself, but getting injured, right? So if you want any advice on any of those things, or real estate, of course, feel free to reach out. Okay, see you next time.